Hello and welcome to a new video of the Cruise Vibes, and today we're taking a look at a life on board of MSC Poesia, and we are starting in Copenhagen and then we are going to Karlskrona in Sweden and to Warnemünde in Germany. And here on the map you can see our route in this video, and as I said we are starting in Copenhagen and we are starting at the station of Hellerup. Maybe you remember this station from my video about the S-Talk. That's where we ended in that video, and from there you can take a direct bus to the cruise terminal. There are several buses that you can use to go to the cruise terminal, especially several stops that you could use. So if you're coming from the north of Denmark, you could use the station of Hellerup, but you can also use a station that is closer to the center of Copenhagen. The cruise terminal itself is quite far away from the city center, so I would refrain from walking there. I would rather take a taxi or shuttle bus or the local buses. Together with us in port was the 7 Seas Splendor and the Britannia of P&O Cruises, and we were at Terminal 3, which is the furthest away from the bus stop, so even from the bus to the ship you still have to walk for a while, so if you can't do that I would recommend taking a taxi or the shuttle bus that your cruise company is offering. Here you can see my cabin. Check-in, as always with MSC, was very easy and fast and convenient, and now we can take a look at the cabin. Here you can see the bathroom, a typical MSC bathroom with a shower curtain but a lot of space. And here you can see the cabin. We have a little desk with multiple power sockets. Unfortunately there is no chair, but you have a small cube to sit on, so it's not too comfortable to work there for a longer time, but it's still a nice desk. We have a third bed in this cabin available, we have a nice TV and a minibar, and here we can see the wardrobe with a lot of storage space, a safe, and of course also some coat hangers and some more space there. And then the first thing I actually did on board was going to a specialty restaurant, because why not? I fancied some sushi, and that's why I went to the Kaito Sushi Bar. And if you remember my video from the MSC Poesia, or you've been on an MSC ship yourself, you will see that this sushi looks quite familiar, because it's more or less the same and always very nice. And as you just heard, we left Copenhagen in style, traditionally with the 3 blast of the ship's horn, and then it was time to head to Sweden. And we were the first ship to leave. The 7 Seas Splendor was leaving Copenhagen at the same time, but they had to still to turn, so we were much faster out of port. And on our way out we had a nice view of Copenhagen, and now we're going in a big circle out of the harbor, sailing past the city center of Copenhagen and past the airport. And then we are heading to Sweden. Here we can see the 7 Seas Splendor leaving the port, but as I said they still had to turn, so we can only see her turning already in the far distance as we are already out of port here. And now the way out is quite interesting, as we are not going under the Öresund bridge, but we're going over the Öresund crossing. As you may know, the Öresund crossing consists of a tunnel, and after about 1/3 of the crossing it will change to a bridge and go all the way over to Malmö. And we are not going under the bridge but over the tunnel, and that means that we are sailing close by the airport. And this is also the reason why not all ships can go that way. Most ships will go the other way if they want to go to the Baltic Sea from here, but we are small enough to go close by the airport. Because the way that we are sailing now is also the way that the planes are coming in, so you cannot be too high to take this way. As you can see here, this landing plane is already not too high above us, so that's quite interesting. And after that I had the glass of wine as an aperitif, and then I went to the restaurant. Here in the background you can see the Öresund Bridge, and a small island where the crossing is changing from the tunnel to the bridge. And here you can see the restaurant where I had a nice dinner. And what the food looks like I will show you on the second day. And also we are now jumping to the second day. On the first day I went to sleep quite early, as I woke up also very early on the second day to make the ship tour that you already saw in the last video. And that also gave me the chance to enjoy the sailing into the port of Karlskrona in Sweden, which was very scenic because of the very nice sunrise and a very nice morning atmosphere here, very nice morning lights, and the weather was quite nice for September, at least in the morning. That was supposed to change later on, but for now the weather was very nice. And Karlskrona is a quite interesting city. I've never been there before. It's still on my list because there are some very interesting ferries going to Poland, which we'll see later on. But it's not a typical cruise destination, especially not for MSC, because it is a tender port. As you can see here, I'm boarding the tender boats. We had to go to a bar and collect a tender ticket, and then we could go to the tender boats according to the time on our tender ticket. So in my case I went to this bar as early as possible to collect a ticket for the earliest possible tender boat, so I can spend as much time as possible in Karlskrona. Taking a tender boat is always very nice because you get those scenic views of your ship. We were sailing right below the bow of the MSC Poesia and can take some nice pictures of the ship on our way to the city. It was the first time tendering with MSC, as MSC is not stopping in tender ports very often because their ships usually are very big, so it takes a long time to get everybody out with the tender boats. But with a smaller ship like the Poesia, it's still possible without any inconveniences for the guests. Of course, it's also possible with a ship like an MSC Reverie to go to a tender port, but it will just take a lot of time to get everybody out and back in, so it's not very convenient. That's why MSC is usually not doing it, but with the small ships it's still possible. And here we are, Karlskrona, a city that does not see that much cruise ships every year, and it's worth visiting. It's a very nice city. Here we can see some impressions, and I was impressed by that city. I was not expecting too much, but it is a very beautiful city. Here we can see some tunnels under the city center. That was a former train track to the port. It's a very important marine port. Also, it is a city that is very much connected to war and self-defense, so there are a lot of military buildings and remains of military structures, as this is in a very strategical position. But it's also a very beautiful city, nice buildings, as you can see here on the central square. We have a lot of very nice buildings, so I really enjoyed being at Karlskrona, and I highly recommend visiting this city if you're in the area. If not by cruise ship, you can also take a train from Copenhagen or from other cities in Sweden directly to Karlskrona, or you can even visit from Poland with the Stena Line ferries. Also very nice is this park area between the city center and the station, with a lot of flowers, very nice blossoms, so that was also very nice to take some pictures of the flowers and walk through this park. I also took a train here from Karlskrona as a small excursion, but that will be an own video, so this will not be part of this video. As you know, I also do a lot of train videos, so there will be an extra video about a train ride to Emmaboda and back, and after that I continued to explore the city of Karlskrona. It was planned that the train video will be the next video, but on this day right now when I'm commenting and uploading this video, I received the information that a cruise ship that was going on much later will be scrapped soon, so I will bring the videos about this ship forward. So the next videos you will see are another ship tour and another vlogs about the cruise, and after that it will be, I think, 4 videos in total. You will see the train ride to Emmaboda. Meanwhile, I visited the small island of Stockholm, where you can see a lot of military remains. In general, Karlskrona is like on an island and consists of several islands, so also the surrounding areas are very interesting. Here you just briefly saw a very long queue line for the tender boats, and that is also what I said, why bigger ships usually do not do tender operations. Because even with a smaller or medium-sized ship like Poesia, you may have these long waiting lines at some point, so I decided to not join the queue and go to the Marine Museum instead. And luckily it was Wednesday, and on Wednesday there is free admission, so that was a very good decision to go there, and the museum is quite interesting. They are telling you a lot about marine history, and there's also a second big exhibition about submarines, and they have a huge submarine on display, and you can even walk around it, you can go inside. So this is a very, very interesting museum, and I highly recommend visiting it. Of course, here you can see some shots from the submarine, but to be honest, you have to see it yourself to get an idea of how big that is and how impressive it is, so I highly recommend going there yourself. There are also a few ships outside the museum that you can usually visit, but during our visit they were all closed, and so I headed back to the tender port. And in this case there was not a long queue, it just took a few minutes and I could take, I think it was the second tender boat back to the ship. Also the way back of course is quite scenic, as you can see you get some nice views of your cruise ship. And it was now past lunchtime, so that's why there was no long queue. I think most of the people that we saw early on queuing wanted to go for lunch on board, and for me that was not important to have lunch exactly at 1 o'clock, so in this case I just decided to go to the buffet restaurant, and with MSC you will always find a place where you can get something to eat, and the buffet restaurant is almost open 24/7, so I knew that I will get a nice pizza and a burger there for sure, and so it was a good decision to spend a bit more time in Karlskrona and visit the Marine Museum. And now I'm back on board, and as I said, straight heading to the buffet restaurant, enjoying a very nice pizza, and also the burgers are always very nice with MSC. And then I went to the wine bar that was still closed, but as you know, it is not a thing of 10 minutes to make a video like that. So of course also when I'm on the ship I need to work on my videos, and that's what I did. And in the meantime the Stena Spirit sailed past us, and this is the ship I was talking about earlier on. This is one of the interesting ferries here from Karlskrona that I want to take as long as it's still possible. As you can see, this is a quite old ship, and as you know, I really like the old ships, and that's why I hope I can show you this particular ship soon as well. And then it was time for us to leave Karlskrona. I had, as soon as the bar opened, a nice wine. They even brought it in a cooled glass. That was very, very nice. And here you can see one of the newer ferries going to Karlskrona. Probably also very nice ferry from the inside, but it's just a standard ferry, to be honest, so not very interesting for me. But I really want to see the old ferry, and I hope it will be still possible for me to do so. And as you can see, still working in the afternoon, and then I changed bar for an aperitif. I chose a gin tonic at the Bar dei Poeti, as they have very nice different special gins. And as you can see, it was delivered in a very nice glass. And after that it was time for dinner, where I had some mussels, very nice. And then I couldn't decide if I should take the risotto or the recommendation of my waiter, so I just took both. So as you can see, this is also possible with MSC cruises. Yeah, and then we are jumping to the third and last day. We are already docked in Warnemünde, so I had to leave my cabin, went for breakfast, and I always prefer to go to breakfast in the a la carte restaurant because it's just more relaxed, and buffet restaurants are always quite crowded, especially on the last day of a cruise, so I always recommend going to the main restaurants if they offer a la carte breakfast. And then it was just a walk of about 5 minutes to go from the ship to the station. Once we've seen the videos from the other cruise ship and the video from Karlskrona, we will continue with train videos on from Warnemünde. So that's it for this video. I hope it was interesting for you. Here you can see the name of the song and when the next video will be uploaded. As always, I'd like to say thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider to comment, like, subscribe or share the video link, and I hope to see you in my next video.